Hello, I'm Ryan, and this is Let's Talk Consciousness. And to anybody who might remember, it's been about 2 plus, maybe 3 years since I posted a video, and I'm in a little bit of a different setting. So I just thought, well, I've been thinking about this for a while. I'm in a different place, feeling kind of spontaneous, so I would try to jump back into what I had been doing for, I think, 2 years before going quiet. Um, but I'll preface it by saying the point of my past videos and everything going forward is all really focused on one idea, which is that forgiveness is fundamental to your spiritual development, your spiritual growth, your advancement in this world. And from that premise, like, how do you apply that to everyday situations, larger situations, cultural, political, global, and not carry around a lot of resentment that brings you down, that diminishes your quality of consciousness. So I made, I don't know, like 50 videos on that topic using different examples, different things that I thought was, grist for the mill, so to speak. And I stopped. And the main reason I stopped is that I actually found myself at a point where I was experiencing something that I couldn't forgive. And I felt like it would make me quite a hypocrite. Well, there's an irony to that because I think regardless, I still have things I can't forgive right now. But this one felt big enough that it didn't feel right to um, continue talking about that idea when I was carrying a lot of resentment and judgment and things that I was talking about letting go. The balance just wasn't right. So I had to do my own work. And so I thought I would come back to talk about that. The other thing is that it's an interesting time because I feel like, in a lot of ways, culturally, politically, socially, um, that there's a reflections of the things that I was experiencing that I couldn't forgive, which I'll get into. That was kind of reflected in the larger culture. Other people have pointed this out, and that in a weird way, that a lot of the terse relationships people are getting into on different social issues is almost reminiscent of like a narcissistic relationship, particularly when you look at well, the way information can be spread, and sometimes it seems as though there's a little bit of gaslighting going on with being told one thing and then another, and doubting your sanity, doubting your common sense. I think that's a legitimate issue culturally, but it's something that I experienced individually. So, to my point, the thing that I was stumbling with so much as far as forgiving was a narcissistic abuser in a relationship that I was in. And it's the kind of thing that I tread lightly talking about that openly, but at the same time, it is kind of autobiographical and for the sake of helping others. But it's one of those things that you can carry around a lot of resentment for the person that's doing these things to you. And I would hastily add, you have to also take into consideration what you are doing that keeps those things moving forward. How are you being the one side to that two-side dynamic? So you do have to take responsibility for that, but that doesn't let the other person off the hook. So I would say, the fact that you can get bogged down in resenting the person and then adopt something of a victim mentality and not feel motivated to change or having any sense of agency to improve your situation or to draw boundaries or anything like that. It's one of those things that you get sometimes in a groove or a cycle where you just kind of stay in that mindset. I mean, a fearful, anxious, despair, any of those kinds of qualities, it doesn't really bring you a sense of wanting to like have a sense of poise and like deal with what you're doing, or what other people are doing to you. So something did change for me where I did have a breaking point where I was like, yeah, I just can't take being treated like this anymore. So I've talked in previous videos about being married, having kids, and some of the stuff around that. And yeah, I'm taking a bit of a chance by talking about it on YouTube because those things can create problems. But at the same time, I think there's a value in pursuing that forgiveness because I'm not going to get into details about some of the things I experienced, and I'm sure she has her side of it that maybe I wasn't the best or easiest person to live with, but the point is, for my part of it, I did have to let that go. It's like I couldn't move forward until I let it go. I had to forgive it. which is challenging, especially when you can kind of play the film reel over and over in your head of like the worst things that they did. And that can sometimes, even when you're not consciously thinking about it, be this like hum in your subconscious that kind of informs how you live, and how sometimes being gaslit can make you convinced that you're worthless or lazy or useless or a burden on people. And then as soon as you get away from it, you realize like that's not really an accurate reflection at all. That's not how other people see you. You know, people who know you a little better and aren't engaging in these ploys. So it's the forgiveness thing is crucial, because it's just like walking through mud. You're just ankle deep in something that is incredibly thick and resistant, as opposed to having that sense like, I know you're doing really messed up stuff to me, and I'm going to refuse it, put a stop to it, walk away from it, but not have a grudge, but not hate you. And that's kind of the critical thing that I feel like I could get into a little bit of a deeper dive into that, but I don't want this video to be too long. This is more or less me just saying I'm back for the 48, 49 subscribers I had when I stopped making videos. But I actually, to people who have watched this or who will in the future, I really do appreciate people who leave comments. I've had some really cool ones where people talked about things that I've said that connected them some way. And, you know, even if it's 10 people, I really don't care. That's not why I do this. I do this because I enjoy exploring it as a topic, and I like engaging with people when they, you know, it vibes with them in some way. And there haven't really been any trolls or any weird people, so that's good. Yeah, I'll wrap it up there, because I could go into a tremendous depth about the relationship thing, but that's a much bigger issue, and I have to be careful about what I say. But I guess I would say I'm demonstrating by coming back to YouTube that even if you get into a bit of a rut, and there's something creative that you like doing and you walk away from it, or you let it wither on the vine, it's almost never too late to come back. I mean, even if it's just small steps. So I intend to come back. I want to talk about a lot of the things that I went through, and how it was the way that I moved forward in my own sort of spiritual apprehension of the world, and my own place in it. So with that, I hope you enjoy your now. Be well.